Welcome to episode 14 of Sanj Surati Talks. It's been a while since we've done the last one, but do you know what? It's COVID, it's 2021, and I think everybody is going manic at the moment trying to figure out where they fit in with this new world that we're in at the moment. I'm so thankful right now because we've got an amazing guest. She is someone that has so much knowledge within a sector that I'm sure a lot of you are going to get a lot out of. Please welcome to the stage CEO of Enspire Management and the event director for the MOBOs, Eunice Obianagha.
That's perfect. Thank you. What a very big and warm welcome that was. Thank you so much.
Eunice, you and I shared a panel on the London College of Music Events Forum about a month ago.
Yeah.
And I was just so inspired by A, what you had to say, and B, the way you had to say it. And I just knew I had to get you on this show. So thank you so much for joining us.
Pleasure. Absolute pleasure. It's really good to be here. Thank you.
There's going to be some people listening to this who don't know much about you. It'd be really good to get just a brief intro into who you are and what you do.
Sure. I'm sure there's plenty of people that wouldn't know about me on the talk, to be honest. So I'll try and give as brief an overview as I can. First and foremost, I'm a lover of music. And that's how I got here, really. Just from a love of music and wanting to be involved in it in any way possible from school age, even before that as well. And that's led me into the direction of being a project management and events specialist, working primarily within music, entertainment and culture sector, and specialising in Black music culture.
You have kind of like a really colourful history within the music sector. And one of the things you just touched on there was cultural based events. So what does it entail to manage complex events and cultural based projects?
A lot of energy and enthusiasm. It takes a lot of administration and management, I would say, are the kind of two core skills I'd probably say I have, and being able to multitask as well, and being able to take a concept and an idea into reality. That's what I love about what I do, that at one moment in time, it is an idea. It's some people sitting in a room discussing what vision they have in the world and then bringing it to real life, and having other people sharing that experience as well. So yeah, that's in essence what I do. And I go into organizations and I work alongside visionaries that have big creative ideas. And I'm there to support them and help them drive that forward.
Awesome. How did you get into this industry?
That's a long story. So do you know what? I'd probably say when I was like age 15, if I'm honest. Probably say when I was like age 15, when I went to a summer school music camp type thing at the Roundhouse. Right. And I'd always loved music, as I've said. And then I met a young man at the time called Nisaki, who ran a youth organisation that was around the creative arts and music called Bigger Fish. And I pretty much hounded him and said, I want to come and work for you. Can I work for you? So from that moment onwards, I became a volunteer of that and went into stage managing some of their under 18 raves at places like the Forum, Kentish Town. Wow. And some artists that are now quite big, and then from there just progressed into lots of different avenues of music producing in terms of event producing. And yeah, that's how really in a nutshell.
And that's brought you into sort of like a wider event circle, and you've done lots of great things. One of the striking things that I was kind of introduced to from looking at what you've worked on was the fact that you worked on the MOBOs. So tell us about the MOBOs.
Yeah, so the MOBOs is an extraordinary treasure of the UK, is what I'd say, why I love working there. It's been recognising artists making music of Black origin for some 24, 25 years now.
Wow.
As an independent Black business. So yeah, I love working there because it just exemplifies everything that I'm about and I enjoy doing. It's music, it's entertainment, it's TV, it's lights, it's cameras, it's red carpet. So that's been running for, as I said, about, I think we're coming up to our 25th year soon, and was launched by an amazing woman called Kanya King. And I've been working with them for the last 10 years.
Wow.
In the last 4 or 5 years or so, I've been their event director, director of events and special projects, meaning that I lead the team in producing the MOBO Awards show, which has been at Leeds, Glasgow Arena. So we're talking about tens of thousands audience, and then on mainstream TV platforms, ITV, BBC, and this year we did our very, very first virtual show in collaboration and partnership with YouTube and the BBC, which was the first time those two broadcasters have ever worked together as well.
Amazing.
So that's MOBO. Alongside that, actually, outside of that, they do a lot of other work, or we, shall I say, do a lot of other work. We have a partnership with Help Musicians UK, where we offer funding to aspiring musicians up to £3,000, and they get mentoring alongside that. We've branched into movies and have a partnership with Netflix as well, and host screenings with them. We're about to launch a new platform called Mobilize, which is all about trying to help people from Black and ethnic minority backgrounds get into the creative industries. Beyond the awards, there's a lot else that goes on. But the awards itself is quite a beast, actually. Yeah.
It's like a brand that has really shone over the last 25 years. I was exposed to it when I was at university back in I think 2002 was the first time I heard about the MOBOs. And it just had a strong purpose that a lot of people were proud to kind of affiliate themselves with. But it was just done in such a credible way and such a respected way. It's just so interesting to see how it's grown. I mean, the fact did a partnership between YouTube and the BBC, that's culturally relevant, that's biblical. And this new thing that you mentioned, Mobilize, just sounds so cool and so useful and so important in our current era. So yeah, it's amazing.
You know, that's one of the things I love about my work, is that I get to work with and be a visionary as well. So I've worked with some really amazing people, and it's just inspiring. It really is inspiring. So yeah, I feel very grateful for what I've been able to be involved with so far. There's still lots more to hopefully do.
Absolutely. The show that you did recently, which was the partnership between YouTube and the BBC, obviously because we're in this COVID world at the moment, what were the challenges that you had to face to take something that is traditionally a live event, a continuum award show, and transcribing that format into a virtual event?
Yeah, that was a task. It was a task because we launched on November the 12th, 2019, with a view to having the show on November the 12th, 2020 at Wembley Arena.
Right.
So that's a massive step change. And I think it was up until September. We were still, in September, it might have been earlier than that, still watching and waiting to see what was possible.
Right.
And had to really quickly pull around and reimagine what the show would look like. So that means the technical sides of actually how do you create a show that would be live and still have that be as entertaining.
Yep.
Which is why we thought, okay, let's go for as live performances, so you still get that aspect of being at a live performance alongside video performance packages as well.
Yep.
And had a combination of that to just try, and still maintain the energy and the jazz. And even outside of that strand of kind of what you see on screen, we still really wanted people to feel like it was an event and a moment. So across our social media, for example, one of the bits that I really loved from our digital team was that we had a virtual red carpet. So on Instagram, we had people coming with their outfits, and like we drop that on Instagram every so often, as you would ordinarily on a red carpet as well, kind of get those snaps. So it was a task, but I think that's part of what we do as event people and live people, is we problem solve. We try and think out of the box, and it's also the beauty of working in a team as well. I had some amazing people working with me that were all ready for the challenge and kind of throwing ideas on the table, both from our internal team and also from the artist teams that we were working with as well.
Amazing. Well, it was a fantastic event and a real beacon of optimism within this current dilemma that we're all in, particularly within the live music space. You've done many projects in Nigeria and are very active in the promotion of Nigerian acts. Talk to us about this marketplace and why it is important to you.
It's important to me because it's a second or home to me, shall I say. It's my other home, won't call it second. My family are from Nigeria.
Right.
So that's important for someone from the diaspora to be able to showcase my culture, which is beautiful. It is beautiful. So I'm passionate for that reason. And it is doing really well in terms of music. It's coined as, one of the fastest growth potential markets at the moment within music. So my work there has kind of takes two spaces. So there's my kind of production work. So I've done some TV production shows out there.
Wow.
This last year I was on a short contract working on The Voice Nigeria, which is part of the ITV franchise there. And the first time it was going to be produced in Nigeria by Unity TV. I've also worked on other TV productions out there and talent shows. And then the other hat that I wear is I founded a music industry development organisation about 1.5 to 2 years ago, looking at how can the power of music help to build the economy in that space.
Right.
Because as much as we are taking over the world with Afrobeats and our music genres around African music, the infrastructure in Nigeria isn't that developed in terms of music. And so our organisation called PRS Foundation wants to galvanise the industry together and look at how do we start building the industry, and then with the industry building a new stream of economy for the country as well. What is the atmosphere of arts like in Nigeria? Buzzing, literally buzzing. It is buzzing. Everybody is everybody's just creative. Everybody's creative out there. It's a really, really vibrant scene. What are the differences between the Nigerian art scene and the UK art scene? That's a really good question, actually. I would probably say, I don't know if there is much difference in the sense that you've got artists there who want to be seen and heard, and want platforms. So I don't know if there is much difference in that sense, but there's difference in kind of the styles of music. But in terms of the same energy that artists have and managers have towards promoting their music, I don't think it's much different. With regards to the Nigerian consumer, what's the kind of appetite for music out over there? Do they soak it up like everyone else outside of Nigeria? Yes. It's part of our lifestyle, like anywhere, and that's why I love music so much. It's a universal language, as cliched as it sounds. Everybody can connect to it in some way, some more than others. But yeah, it's a part of the life, from the radio in your Uber to church to going out raving. It's part of life. So that sounds amazing. And it sounds like you're doing lots of things with regards to giving people the opportunity to express themselves through music on various different platforms. Tell us about Tileyard Impact. Sure. Tileyard Impact is it's the CIC of Tileyard Studios based in King's Cross. And they work to get people into the creative industries and find opportunities within the creative industries. So I sit as a delivery board member for them and another organisation as well called Small Green Shoots, which is also based at Tileyard as well. And they've been running for about 12 years, and Tileyard has been running for about Tileyard Impact been running for about 2 or 3 now so far.
Okay.
Both organisations are close to my heart because they're trying to get people who are not in traditional education, who are potentially from less privileged backgrounds, shall I say, or minority backgrounds, into opportunities that they might not have access to so easily as others. So yeah, they're brilliant organisations. Definitely check them out.
How did you get involved in that project?
So with Tileyard, how did I meet Wisdom? Wisdom's the director of Tileyard Impact. I can't remember how I met him now, but he just reached out and said, I think it would be great to have you on board. Likewise with Nats, who is the director of Small Green Shoots. I've known her for a very long time, and she's been like a mentor to me. So again, kind of reached out a few years ago when she was reorganizing her board and thought that I would contribute to that. And I'm really, really humbled actually, because I've in the last year become the chairwoman for the board of Small Green Shoots now.
Amazing.
And this is like on a board of trustees with some really well-established people. The VP of, I think it's of legal for E1. You've got Ellis Rich there, who's sat on various boards and was a director at PRS. So yeah, I feel very privileged to be invited to be in these roles.
Awesome. So you touched on the PRS. You were a music advisor for the PRS Foundation.
Mm-hmm.
What has that experience been like?
They're a great organisation, really, really great. Really, really care about the beneficiaries that they try to help. So there's obviously PRS, and then PRS Foundation is the charitable arm of that. And their role is to provide funding opportunities to help people further their careers within music. So my roles have been primarily getting involved in funding applications and reviewing applicants around that, signposting people towards opportunities as well. The CEO, Joe Falkland, is great, really cares about the mission of the organisation. And they've actually just recently launched a new initiative called Power Up, right. Which is being spearheaded by a gentleman called Yao Owosu. And the whole premise of that is, how can you create opportunities for Black people within the music industry? So that's literally launched a few days ago.
With regards to the event space that you've started in and where you're going, it sounds like you've learned a lot, particularly you're at the MOBOs for 10 years, which is a long time. Understandably, right now, we're in this COVID era. What are the current challenges for a professional working within the event space right now?
Work. Work is the biggest one. And also knowing when you might get opportunities as well. That is the main thing really for a lot of myself and a lot of colleagues. And I'm finding through conversations that people are now tapping into their other skills and seeing where they're transferable and trying to pivot as well into other areas that they might not even realize they have. So in a positive, it's challenging people to think a little bit differently about themselves and kind of maybe take a moment of reflection and just look back and see, what can I do outside of this as well?
And so do you feel like having an entrepreneurial spirit is important within this current era?
Definitely. It keeps you agile and adaptable, and seeking for new opportunities as well. So I think it's something to, I don't know, is it something to grow or it kind of nourish? I don't know how, but I think you kind of, some people just are entrepreneurial and want to be doing different things and kind of starting up on their own or starting up in collaboration. Yeah, I suppose you have to right now. You've got no choice.
No, absolutely. Do you perform music?
Do I perform music?
Yeah.
I can hold a note. I can hold a note. I don't sound full. I used to religiously take singing classes and sing when I was a lot younger, but don't do that anymore. Singing's my thing. I think everybody should sing. It's such a great thing for the soul and stress relief and joy bringer. So yeah, I think everybody should sing. Even if you don't think you can probably hold a note of some sort.
The vocal is an instrument.
Mm-hmm.
A lot of people think that, are you a singer or do you play an instrument? And the mouth is an instrument.
Yeah, it really is.
Where did you study?
I went to Middlesex University. I did business.
Right.
I did business with the knowledge that I wanted to work in the music space, but also with the knowledge that business can be applied to anything. So wherever I go, I would have core skills that can fit into anything. So I did accounting, I did law, we did advertising. My final year modules, again, knowing that I wanted to be in the creative space, were IP law and consulting and organisation. So yeah.
And where did you grow up?
In central London, so literally hot in the centre of Zone 1.
Wow.
Yeah, so it's a nice area now. Never used to be like this. Like there's various areas in London. As a child, I vaguely remember there just being lots of punks around here and kind of it being a bit dingy.
Wow.
And I mean, it wasn't when this was before I was born, but I do remember my brother also telling me this story about being out playing with his friends, and he was the only black person in that group of friends, and then realising that all of a sudden, some National Front people were chasing them and he was the only person running. So yeah, that kind of, that kind of London to now is slightly different in some places.
It's completely different, but yet that kind of poisonous element is still around. It's not the same. It's not as strong.
No. Yeah. So, I mean, that's a story that, I didn't ever experience direct racism like that, but that's a story that's definitely stuck in my mind. Definitely stuck in my mind. But London's my town. It's my city. I love it to bits. There's something special about here.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, the magic in London is just infectious. I feel like anyone who comes here for the first time just doesn't want to leave, which is beautiful. Just going back to Nigeria. So do you go out to Nigeria a lot then?
Try to. I try to. I've been going back and forth then since literally babe in arms, just in terms of family. And in the last couple of years been intentionally going out there for work purposes. So as I can, really, I try to be on ground.
Just with regards to you going out to Nigeria, when you started doing business out there, the first time you stepped on that soil to focus on a project that you were producing, how did that feel?
Wonderful. Honestly, it's like that. I say I love London. I also really love Lagos, and I really love Nigeria as well. It's just great. It is really great to be delivering in a different country, in a different environment, and learning and sharing your learnings as well with others.
Yep.
There's a really amazing resourcefulness to the technicians that work out in Nigeria in terms of putting on an event, and it just showed me a different level of resourcefulness and energy for putting on live events.
Were there any challenges for you when you set up your first event out in Nigeria?
I'd say yes, but I can't remember any, if I'm honest. I'd say yes, because with every event, there's always challenges. And again, I'll go back to, it's important to have a team.
Yeah.
Because you work through it together. So I can't say that if there was a challenge, it's something that I problem solved on my own, because I would have had a team. I think one challenge was we were running against the clock and having to make some very big script changes to the show that we were producing as an award show. And just having a team around you that can stay, who are willing to put the work in and stay up late and make sure everything's done. And yeah, it just goes a long way.
Run us through briefly the kind of process to producing an event. What are the kind of initial stages that you implement to ensure that an event is going to be successful?
First of all, it's thinking about what is the big idea around the event. So let's just say it's a music concert, for example.
Yep.
Who are you going to program and who are your audience? Audience is always like top of mind in any event, needs to be top of mind. Who are you going to program, and what is the flow and feel of that program? So there's one thing to kind of book art acts, but you have to create a show.
Yep.
And a holistic show. So from beginning to end, people feel like they've gone on a journey. That's how I like to think about it, that the music journey that you're taking people on makes sense, that there's highs and lows in that, that it's not just monotonous as well. So there's that element of programming, and then you have to think about how you actually communicating the event to people, which is where the marketing element of it comes in, and digital side of things. And then there's the producing of the event from the technical aspect, where people like yourselves get involved in thinking and curating what you've written down on the running order into real life.
Awesome. And then just with regards to the talent aspect of the shows that you work on, how does that curation work in curating the right artists for your show?
Okay. I think it depends on the genre that you're looking at, or the kind of genre space you're looking at. And is it a headline show with like one act, or is it a multi-artist lineup, for example? If it is, what's the experience that you want your audience to have? So I think for me, it's starting off with what kind of genre and what is the vibe. So, for example, a jazz event is going to be very different from a hip hop event, but you then could combine the two, or am I combining the two? Yeah. So it varies, I think. It varies depending on what kind of genres you're looking at and interested in delivering to your audience.
Awesome. And just with regards to the artists, who was your favorite artist that you commissioned for one of your events?
Oh, do you know what the one that comes to mind, actually, because I just mentioned jazz and he came to mind. We had a special recognition evening at MOBO with Gregory Porter.
Right.
Oh my days, the man's voice was velvet. And this event we turned around in a ridiculously short amount of time. And it was just beautiful. It was so, like, because of its simplicity, we did it in an old church building with really warm lighting, had our piano in the corner and just him and his voice. And it was just stunning. And we had a small audience.
Wow.
I think it must have been no more than 150 people.
Okay.
And yeah, it was just such a beautiful and warm experience to be part of. And so up and close and personal and just raw music.
Wow. Who has been your worst? No, don't answer that question.
I wasn't going to, don't worry.
No, I'm sure they're all brilliant. You've been in the sector for a long time now. You've done so many amazing things. What has been the most important lesson that you've learned through your career?
Team is everything for
Right.
me. Team is everything for me. You talked about challenges before, and I'm just learning for myself that if you have the right team, any challenge can kind of be overcome, really. And I've recently just kind of thought about what is it that makes me feel fulfilled and motivated within a project space.
Yeah.
One of the things is team spirit, that everybody's driving towards the same cause and feel enthused and willing to help each other. And there's a kind of almost a family aspect to it. The other thing is the vision and the big picture. It has to be something that I believe in.
Yeah.
Might not necessarily even be music per se, but there is a belief that this is something that the world needs, or this is something that is going to be of benefit to the client or to the audiences in some way.
Yeah.
The other thing is that the individuals I'm working with are people that I respect and appreciate and believe in as well, and value. Then likewise, that is reciprocated and shown towards me as well. So those are kind of things that I've learned for myself are important to have in a team setting and in a work setting, for people to really thrive.
Absolutely. And I love to corroborate that. Working on projects at times can be so draining, not just physically, but mentally. And you do need to have people around you that are supporting you and vice versa, that you support as well. I always find the best projects are the ones where everyone is in tune with each other, everyone is supporting each other. Otherwise, it's just not worth it, you know?
Yeah.
Yes, you've done something great, but if you don't feel positive about it, what's the point?
Yeah.
I feel sometimes people just look at the reward before thinking about, you know, what it takes to get that reward.
Yeah. And what we do, I mean, the space we work in is not an easy one in terms of it's glamorous and not glamorous at the same time, especially for the behind the scenes people and the people on stage as well. It's long hours and it's a lot of hard work and it's a lot of emotion because of the subjects that we're talking about, which is often music and creativity, which is expression. So it can be quite tough. And then you have to mix something that's creative and expressive alongside business targets and audience targets as well, which don't always mix in a way. So it's not easy. So knowing that you've got a strong foundation of people that you work with that are solid means that then you can then attack anything that's getting thrown at you.
Absolutely. Eunice, this is amazing. This is good. There's some good energy. I like it. We're sort of coming towards the end of the podcast, but we're going to go out with it kind of calm bang, which is great.
Okay.
What advice do you have for anyone looking to get into your line of profession?
I would say find out who's doing what I do or the thing that you want to do and reach out and get experience in doing it.
Wow.
That's what I'd say. It's important to start building your networks and getting experience. And it's okay if they don't answer. Look for somebody else. And who do you have around you as well that you might be able to tap into or gain some experience from? Do you know any artists of your own that you could lend your skills to? Do you have your own cultural idea that you could maybe start building on yourself as a way of exercising or creating your own opportunity? Those are some of the things I'd say. What
has been your most important collaboration on that level? Like you mentioned, looking out for people that are doing what you do and see if you can work with them. What has been the most important one for you?
It's hard for me to say, if I'm honest, just because I feel really blessed that at various points in my career, I've always had people who have championed me and really kind of got behind me. So it'd be unfair for me to pick one specific person or collaborator, because they've all been important at different stages in my career.
Okay.
And also maintaining those relationships is another thing I'd say to people as well.
Right.
Maintain those relationships.
Okay, so I'll rephrase the question a little bit.
Sure.
And again, I'm just going to try and be vague. What was the pivotal moment within your professional career where you felt like you changed gears and gone into a direction that you were really strong and confident about?
Would it be bad if I say that I'm still waiting for it, if I'm honest? I feel like I'm still waiting for it. I still feel like I'm still waiting for it. I feel like I've had some amazing experiences, but I feel like I'm possibly still waiting for a really big pivot moment. There've been moments in my career where I felt actually right now doing what I'm doing, I'm in my groove. I can feel it. This is what I was born to do.
Wow.
But I think, is there one big pivot? No, it's all been an evolution for me, I think.
It's just interesting because just looking at all the things that you do and have done, for me, like on the outside, it's like, wow, this this lady is, she's stratospheric, which is exciting, and it's inspiring, and I'm not just saying that, I mean that, like the things that you've done and you're doing are so cool and have impact and have so much value to so many people. So it's really interesting to hear you say that. I saw a podcast between Sacha Baron Cohen and Ben Affleck, and Ben Affleck, who's won an Oscar for Best Writer and Best Film, still feels like he is the underdog and he's still learning and still has a long way to go.
That's exactly how I feel. literally still feel like the underdog, still feel like I've got a long way to go and there's so much more to learn. Me and Ben are on the same page.
Well, you know what? I'm sure the things that will be coming out of your corner are going to be even more exciting and even more spectacular. So I'm really looking forward to seeing just what the future holds for you.
Thank you. And thank you for allowing me to share a bit. Hopefully there was some things in there that were of interest.
Oh, absolutely. I'm sure there's going to be loads of people listening that are getting lots of value from this. If anyone wants to get in contact with you, what's the best way?
If you follow me on Instagram, which is Enspire, ENSIPRE_management, and drop me a message, I will come back to you.
Brilliant. Eunice, you have been awesome.
Thank you.
Thank you so much for your time. I definitely want to get you on another podcast. When we start doing some events, if we get any panel discussions, it'd be good to get you on them.
I'd love to. Thank you. I'd love to. Awesome. Send me everything you've got.
Those of you listening, guys, thank you so much for your time. Again, if you can, please share this on social media using the hashtag Sanj Surati Talks, or one word. Whatever you're doing, wherever you are, I hope you're safe. But most importantly, please make sure that you be good.